Okay, back to the Make and Takes. So this one, we're going to do some different things. This is from the Cherish collection, the paper is. We're going to do some stenciling, some stamping, and a little bit of different things with this one. Some paper tearing. So let's get started. You are going to definitely want your sheet of your all-purpose mat for this one. That is a definite must for this one. You're going to have your stencil. We're going to grab out a packet. You're going to take your card, and we'll need that eventually. So what you have in your packet is we're going to go ahead and pull out the piece of the white. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to do this. This is not a printed paper. This is a stencil. So, and we're not going to use Distress Oxide ink either. We are going to use regular ink. Now, a lot of times I will just be able to line this up and hold it on to where I want it. I'm going to add some of our tape. This is our masking tape. So we want to do it so that it is even on one end. And then you're going to have a little bit of a line of a gap where you're not going to get color on the top, which is just fine. So I'm actually, what I'm holding down is my stencil. I'm not even holding down the, and I can add it so that it holds a little bit of this card on the top because we're going to cover that. So I have my sponge. So you have a couple different options. You can use a sponge. You could use, and I'm going to include one of the brushes, the Close to My Heart brushes like we used for the Distress Oxide. This one I'm going to use for a dye ink, but I have that packed away already. So I'm going to use a sponge. This is a big sponge. I think it's like $1.25. And I just keep cutting little sections off. If it gets dirty, I might cut it. You can see I have some of them here that I've used before. So they really can go a long, long way. So we're going to start with our shortbread ink. What I'm going to do is just take my sponge and go into the shortbread, pounce a little bit, and then I'm just going to kind of swirl. And maybe you want to start towards this top area, and I'm going to kind of hold this on here. And it's totally fine if you have darker areas and lighter areas. I actually really like the contrast in it. You can pounce if you want. That's going to give you a whole different look than rubbing. I'm just going to lift it up a little bit so you can see what we're looking at. So I'm just going to keep going here. And quite honestly, you probably only have to do this part, and you can leave the actual center part if you'd like, because we're going to be covering that up. Oh, now my stencil moved. This is good tape, but it's not the stickiest tape that wants to come off. I'm going to actually use some washi tape on it. Reline it up. And just use some washi because it's a little stickier. Oh, and there it goes again because I didn't put it on my... There. Now it's on my card. So it will kind of stay in place. We'll just add the washi. But I kind of like that it's not consistent in the coloring. I like that kind of variegated color. So if you want to add a little more, you can in spots. You don't have, you can keep things lighter. Okay. So you can see how it really created that nice background. You're just going to take your stamped chamois and rub across it. So this is going to create our background. So we don't need any more of the shortbread ink. Where are my other pieces? Here we are. So these were cut using thin cuts. The deer, if you have already done that, that was done with a Cricut cut. So we're going to take, now you could do these either way. If you wanted, I guess. I just did them this way. We're going to do some tearing. So if you tear towards you, I want this side to be out and I want that white edge. So I'm going to tear towards me and then that white edge comes across. Just gives it a neat little background. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this. I like to attach it all kind of the flat things and then attach it to my card. So now I can kind of see how things are going to progress with my card. This is going to be there. Maybe I want to give it a quarter of a turn or half a turn or whatever. And then I'm going to have the French vanilla. So we're actually using White Daisy, but then we're using the French vanilla. All right, so we're not quite done. We're going to do a little stamping, little clustering on both of these. So we're going to use actually 3 different stamps on here. I'm going to put some of the stuff back in my bucket. So we've got our foam. So I'm going to put my foam underneath here. The first thing that we're going to stamp is we're actually going to take the Cherish card making stamp. This one comes with stencils. It's really kind of fun because it has a thin cut and then it has a couple stencils. So you don't have to cut these things. You can just stamp them. We could use the sentiments off of here, Thankful for You. But we're going to use the sentiment off of a different stamp. Now, this one, I'm going to tell you, it doesn't quite fit. But that's okay because we're only going to use a corner. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp. I am only going to use this little section right here of this stamp. So this one I am going to use this one I believe is, I want to say sage. Yeah, I think I use sage on this one. We're going to use sage. So I could use a piece of scrap paper. So what I'm going to do, and I know this has been seasoned, it's been used before, is I'm going to come in and I'm going to stamp here and stamp here. I think I might have used that side, but it's okay. You can use either side. It doesn't matter. We're going to use Seabrook. And I'm just going to do a little bit on the top. And then I'm going to re-ink it, turn it over, give it a half turn, and do a little bit there. So I'm going to go ahead and if you get ink on it, just take the stamped chamois and wipe that off. It'll come off real nice. So I'm going to leave that one on. All right, so you can see sending smiles. We've got our little leaves on there now. So on here, we're going to take some stamps off of the Floral Bloom. I just want some of the leaves. This is a really cool stamp as well. Comes with the thin cuts. We're not going to use them today. We're going to use these couple little ones here. So I'm going to take him, put him on a block. And this is where I want you to kind of look and visualize, kind of, okay, this is where I want it. So I want to stamp out in here. So I'm going to go ahead with my Seabrook and I'm going to come and I'm going to stamp out in that area, okay? Because when I put this over it, do you see what it's doing there? It's adding a little extra feature there. Then we're also going to take one other leaf off of here. Our branch is this guy right here. I'm going to put him on a block. So those two are in Seabrook, and then, or I'm sorry, sage. And now we're going to add some mist. So this one is going to go in the mist, which is this color behind, in that same area. So I'm going to come in and just kind of use that as a filler. If you want to do all four corners, you definitely could. I'm just going to do the one. All right, so see how I've got that there. And then we've got this piece here. I thought it would needed something just a little bit more to stand out. So I am going to take my sage, back to my sage. I'm going to cut another little chunk off of my, and these chunks will be in the bucket with, or the basket. And you'll see that, oh, let's put it right side up. So we're going to use this, or you could use, probably for this one, you can definitely use this, but we're just going to go ahead and do a little inking around the edge. So if you like it darker, you can go another time around. And I think I even just did a little kind of pounce in on the flowers, and I didn't want a lot in there, just a little bit of color. So it just makes it pop a little bit more, okay? All right. Oh, we need one more thing for mist. We're gonna do the Sending Smiles before we attach it all together. All right, so we're going to use one more stamp set, which is called Sending Smiles, and we're going to use Sending Smiles. All right, I did use this once. So I purposely got some ink around the outside. I'm going to go ahead, because I saw it, and I'm going to wipe it off with my stamp chamois. So when I look down on it, I can see exactly where I'm going to stamp. I'm just going to do a little bit. And now I'm going to do some Sending Smiles. And again, just push straight down. You can rub your hand over it. Don't go rocking your block like that. That's not... you're going to get the lines on the edges or whatever from that. So that's giving us that look. We are done with the mist. Okay, I'm going to add this to my card base. Yep, there's a bone folder. I found a whole bunch of them. So every one of them will have a bone folder in them. So you can go ahead and do that. Oh, got a little ink on my hands. I'm going to wipe it off on my stamp chamois. I'm going to go ahead and add my, oh, there must be some on here. Let's wipe that off before everything gets it on there. Okay. So this is going to go on my card base. That's done. And I like to see where it is on the top. Line it up. There we go. This one I did straight onto the paper. Because if you're going to mail these, you don't want a ton of bulk. So you could pop it. Don't have to. And it's kind of nice we have this pattern on here, so I can get it just about perfect. My Sending Smiles, I did use some of our foam tape. And I used the thin So this one you can just rip with your fingers. Really sticky. All right. There we go. We're gonna add that to there. And in your baggie, there are 3 gems. 2 little ones, 1 big one. And we are going to just simply slide them off. I did them on that side. I'm going to do them on this side this time. So it doesn't matter, wherever you think you want them. And you can just kind of slide them off. We have a really great pickup tool, a little waxy pickup tool that I have available too. So that's cool. All right, sending smiles. There you have it. Pretty easy, neat card using 3 different stamp sets along with the paper. So you get to see all the different things that we can do with that. All right, guys, that's it for this make and take. I hope you're having a great time.